So for today, we have considered data types, guys. Okay, the data types, we have two types of data types. Okay, whenever we are considering with respect to Java, or whenever we are trying to create the variables, whenever we are trying to create anything related to some data storage with respect to some values, or declaring a variable, at that particular instances, we have to have the data types handy, right? So we have two different types of data types in Java. Okay, one is we have with respect to the primitive data type, and the other one is the non-primitive data types. Okay, we have two types of data types in Java. One is primitive data type, and one is non-primitive data types. Okay, so non-primitive data types we'll be seeing in the future session, guys. Okay, so for today, we'll be starting with the primitive data types. Okay, so primitive data types are nothing but those are the basic building blocks of data which is helpful in manipulation in Java. Okay, and they store simple values directly in memory and faster than non-primitive data types. Okay, so primitive data types are the basic building blocks of data manipulation in Java, and they store simple values, and they will be storing directly in the memory. Okay, and are faster than non-primitive data types, and we have different types of data types. Okay, so first thing, the first primitive data type can be considered with respect to byte. Okay, so byte is the a primitive data type, which is with the size of this byte is 1 byte. Okay, and this is the range. Okay, and next thing is this is the short. The other data type, primitive data type, is short, which is 2 bytes of size, and this is the range for that. Okay, then we have integer, which is the usually used one, and this is 4 bytes of size. Okay, and this is the range for that. And then we have long, which is basically 8 bytes of storage, and we'll be writing like this. The default value will be 0L. Okay, this will be the default values, guys. So for the byte, the default value is 0. For short, it is 0. For integer, it is 0. And for long, the default value is 0L. Now, what is mean by default value is the value that is being taken by the JVM if a user or a programmer is not explicitly defining the value. Okay, I'll tell you what it is. Okay, so consider for long it is 0. Okay, and this is the range. Okay, then we have float, where which is basically used to store the decimal values. Okay, we have 4 bytes of size, and the default value will be 0.0f. Okay, and here what is a double? There is one more primitive data type, double, which takes 8 bytes as the size, and the default value will be 0.0d, and it will store up to 15 decimal digits. So the float and double are used to represent the decimal values. What is the difference between float and double? The float is used to store up to 7 decimal digits, whereas double is used to store up to 15 decimal digits. Like the numbers after the point or after the digit. Okay, and the characters are basically stores a single character, like basically A, B, like that. Okay, and boolean is basically used for true or false value. Okay, so it is basically used for true or false value, right, guys? Okay, fine. The next thing is let us see in individuals. Okay, let us see each primitive data type individually. Okay, so first thing is integer data type. Okay, so here the integer data type is used to store the whole number, right, without decimals. So if you want to store some value without any decimals, then we go with integer data types. Okay, so this will be the smallest integer types. Okay, and short, when we can go with the primitive data type short, when it is useful for memory efficient applications, at that time we go with short. Okay, and when do we go with int? So this is for byte, guys, and this is for int. Okay, it is most commonly used integer type. And when do we go with integer and long? The difference, this is also stores the value, this is also stores the value. So when we can go with int? When it is when we have small numbers. Okay, when we go with long, when we have large numbers, at that time we go with long. Like for example, see this much. Okay, and whenever we want to write long, we have to end with L. L indicates that is a long data type. Okay, And then we have floating data types where we have float and double, where float is basically used to store up to 7 decimal digits, and double is used to store up to 15 decimal digits. Characters is again used to store a single character, and boolean is used to store true or false. Okay, so now let me switch back to Eclipse and try to show you guys that how does it looks with the real-time declaration. So here now we can see that we have a class where in this particular public static we have a main method, right? So this is a class, right? And this is the main method. Now first thing that we want to understand with respect to the integer. Okay, how to declare an integer variable or a value where we can store the integer value. So for that we have to declare the reserved keyword in Java, that is int. So this is the data type or the primitive data type which we can use to declare an integer value. Okay, so int will be the data type. This will be the variable name. Any variable name we can give. Okay, it could be like a, it could be z, it could be number 1, anything, whatever we want with respect to our requirement, we try to declare a variable. What is the basic need of declaring a variable? To store some value so that we can use it for our use. For example, if we want to perform addition of two numbers, so for that I will create one method, public void add or addition. I've created one method, right? Now if we want to perform addition, then we should be having two numbers, right? Either the two numbers can be taken directly, or I can try to store it in some variable, because variable is basically used whenever the value keeps on changing. At that time we go with the variable declaration. Okay, so how to declare a variable? First we have to give the data type. So this is the data type that we want to give. So data type, and then we have to give the variable name. Okay, and then we have to give the assignment operator, and then we have to give the variable value. Things will, and then finally ending the sentence or ending the syntax with semicolon. Okay, so now let me try to declare a variable. So what is the type of data that I want to declare? I want to declare an integer data type. So for that I'll be declaring int. See guys, int is a reserved keyword. We can't declare integer like this. We can't declare. Okay, so integer is a reserved keyword. So for that, it is basically used to declare an integer value, which is a primitive data type. We have to go with int, all smaller case. The color changes. Okay, the color changes. So now we have to give a variable name. Any variable name we can give. Let me give it as number 1. Okay, and then assignment operator. Assignment operator is nothing but equal to. Okay, and then the value. Suppose consider I'm giving the variable value as 10. This is how we declare a data type. This is how we declare a data type with a variable, and we assign a value to that particular variable with data type that we want to initialize. Clear guys? So this is, we are trying to perform an addition. Now to perform an addition, we should need two values, right? So one value we have taken. Let us take one more value. Integer of num2 is equals to 20. Okay, num value is equals to 20. Let me try to declare it as 20 here. Okay. So we have taken two variables now, num1 and num2, and I want to perform an addition. So let me try to make use of system.out.println, which is basically a println statement to print something on the console. So let me try to take this and let me try to make use of num1 plus num2. Okay, I'm trying to print this one. So now I have created a method for what? For addition. So is this a user defined method? Yes, it is a user defined method. If it is an user defined method, then we have to make an explicit call to this particular method. Okay, so for that what we have to do? We have to create an object. So let me try to create an object. How to create an object? We'll be making use of class name and reference obj is equals to new keyword will help us in creating the object, and the constructor call. This is how we'll be creating an object. Now we have created an object. Now let me try to call the addition variable, addition method obj.addition. Okay, main method will be executed automatically by the JVM. We don't want to call, or we don't want to create an object to call that particular method, but whatever the user defined methods are there, that should be called explicitly. So that I am making a call, and now let me try to execute. Okay, run as Java application. Right click, run as Java application. See, here we can see that it will be giving us the output as 30, right? So this is how we will be declaring an data type, or a type of data that we want to store a value. Now we saw that the default value for the integer is 0, right? So for that, what we have to do is, this is called as an local variables. I'll explain what is local variable, don't worry, in the future sessions, okay? But this is a local variables, and whatever we will be declaring directly inside the class, outside any method, those are called as instance variables, okay? And if you are trying to declare an instance variable, then the default value will be given by the JVM. So why I am using this is to show you guys what is the default value of integer data type, okay? So now let me try to print sysout control space default value for integer is whatever it is, it will give me. I'll just print A. So here I'm just trying to perform concatenation of two strings. Okay, so this will try to print me some text, and here I'm trying to perform concatenation. Concatenation is nothing but joining two things. Okay, and finally I'm trying to print what? I'm trying to print the value A. Okay, this is the value A that I have declared as an instance variable. Okay, so now if I execute this, so this you can see that the default value will be 0. See, it is 0, right? So this is nothing but the default value. Because if you want to declare something in a local variable, then we have to provide explicitly the initialization of that. Okay, so that we will see in the types of variables, but for now just consider that the default value of integer is 0. Okay, and this is basically how we will declare two variables with primitive data type, that is integer. Now how to declare a variable with data type long? So it is simple. Again, long is a reserved keyword. Okay, so I'll give the long like this. So this is declared, and we have to end it with L. Okay, so this is done. And how to declare the long one more? So simple, long long, and then we have to give it L like this. So now this is long variable, long primitive data type. Okay, what is the major difference between integer and long? Integer is used to store minimum number of numbers. If you have more set of numbers, then we can go with long. Like for example, like this, big number, right? We have a big number like this. Okay, then we can go with long. So this will perform the addition of long. And if you want to see the default value, let me try to declare integer as long, and let me try to print the values. See, this is the addition that we have got with respect to the num1 plus num2, and this is the default value 0. What is the default value for long, and what is the default value for integer? 0. Okay, now let me try to declare the float value. So how to declare float? Simple, float float. Again, it is a case sensitive, guys. You can't declare F as capital. Okay, so I've declared it as float, and let me try to declare this also as float so that I can check the default value. Run as Java application. See, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 numbers, 8 decimal values we can store. Okay, and what is the default value for float? 0.0. This is the default value. Okay, so this is float data type. We used to store decimal value numbers with 8 as an decimal value. Okay, now let me try to declare this as double. Okay, so double is also a primitive data type which is used to store more number of decimal values. Okay, so I have declared this as double. Now let me try to run as Java application. So this will use to store more number of decimal values. Here, like the number that we have taken, might be it is not giving the proper decimal count, but if you want to store more number of decimal values, like for example something like this, 1 point like this, something up to 15 numbers you can store. Okay, count it accordingly and try to give it. Okay, so like this 15 numbers you can give after the decimal. Okay, very like if you want to have very precise, if you want to have a result with a very precise decimal values, okay, you can go with double data type. I'll run as Java application. So for this, let me try to declare it with D, and let me try to declare it with D. Run as Java application. Okay, see here you can see that we have got the addition and the default value is again 0.0. Okay, what is the default value for float and double? 0.0. And what is the default value for integer and long? It is 0. Okay, the next thing is we have with respect to the character. The character is basically used to store a single character. It might be a word, it might be a single alphabet, it might be an special characters, it might be a number. So I'll show you guys. See, so that might be not an addition. We can't perform an addition with respect to alphabets, right? So for that, I'll try to create one more method. Like how to create a method: public access modifier, void is return nothing, then print char. I'll give the name as print char. Open close. Whenever we have a declaration of a method, we have to give this open close bracket. Okay, and whenever we want to write the definition, curly braces open, curly braces close. And then we have to declare the local variable. Local variable will be char, like this. So like this we will be trying to have the char, char. Okay, and one particular name to that, I'll give it as char1. Okay, is equals to, and here we have to give single quotes. Okay, a, like this. So like this we can declare a character. And one more character I'll try to declare like this, and here I'll try to declare some percentage. Okay, so this is one more character. Now if I want to print, I'll make use of system.out.println, and I'll try to print char1 plus some particular space, and then I'll print it as char2, like this. Now I want to check the default value, so I'll take it as char and I'll give it as a, and then I want to print the default value of a as well, so I'll make use of this println statement. Okay, and is this method will be called now? No, it will not be called. Why? Until we make a call explicitly, it will not be called, or it will not be used. See, if I execute this without making the print char, it will not give me this char1 and char2, right? It is not giving me. So for that, we have to first make a call. So how to call? We have to create an object, and then we have to make a method call, like this. Now run as Java application, like this. See, it is giving me a space percentage, right? And the default value of, okay, here I need to change from int to char. Okay, I'll try to make it like this. And the default value for the char that we have taken, it will be like this. It will store a Unicode value, guys, like /u and 000. It will be something like this. The default value for character will be like this. Okay, this is the default value of character, which we can't see in the console. See, here it is something box, but this is the default value. Okay, so this is the default value of a character. So these are the different data types that we have with respect to the primitive data types. Okay, the primitive data types are Boolean. Sorry, Boolean is the last one. We have character, we have double, float, long, integer, short, and byte.